It's almost like your health, longevity, and quality are at stake, no matter whether or not you have a medical condition. Do you feel like you need to get a medical condition before you can justify not consuming food that is pushed on you? Dr. Kashey here. This is going to you empaths, you guys that care about other people, care about feelings, and just want to let you know that sometimes what you want is less important than what somebody else wants. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit. You ever feel weird when you go to a gathering or a restaurant or a barbecue or whatever where people are preparing food and going through the trouble to make sure people are having a good time, and you feel weird about not participating? So in some instances, you attempt to not participate to make sure you reach your own goals, and then you have to deal with people who are pushing food on you. In other situations, you may just participate outright because you know other people have gone through the trouble to do whatever they're doing. So you may feel awkward if you don't participate, and you do anyway without having to put up a fight at all about reaching your goals. What this means is that you want what you want less than what they want, and that your goals are not a legitimate reason to manage your behavior in a social situation, and that your goals are not legitimate enough to share with other people. This compounds when the person is pretty insistent that you consume whatever they make. This person wants you to consume what they made more than you want to reach your own goals. What if you had debilitating ulcerative colitis, and a person offered you a platter of hot wings, and they were insistent that you consumed it? And if you ate it, you know it would feel like a nuclear bomb going off in your body. Would you consume the food then? Probably not. Would the person offering you the food be less pushy knowing that you had a condition like that? Quite possibly. In fact, having a food like that probably wouldn't even be on your radar. It would never be taken into consideration. Or let's say you had celiac disease. Let's say you had a massively clinically relevant allergy to gluten. Would you consume the food that was offered you or pushed on you knowing it had gluten in it? And if knowing the consequences of what would happen if you did consume it? In fact, it probably wouldn't even matter how much that person pushed. You wouldn't even have the option to say anything but no. It's almost like your health, longevity, and quality are at stake, no matter whether or not you have a medical condition. Do you feel like you need to get a medical condition before you can justify not consuming food that is pushed on you? Because at that point, it's likely that your desire to stay healthy is greater than their desire for you to consume what they've made. At that point, it seems more legitimate to turn down food versus you just wanting to be healthier and live longer and have greater quality of life for whatever reason. Wanting to improve your quality of life is as legitimate a reason as any. Likewise, if a person had a debilitating medical condition or severe allergy and you had made something that had those ingredients in it, would you push that food on a person? Probably not. Maybe you did in the past, but maybe you think about it now. Have you found yourself at some point in your life that maybe trying to egg a person on to consume something that may have been off plan if they were trying to change their operating behaviors? Or would you respect that it is the way they want to operate? It's easier than you think to come to the conclusion that your needs are not as important as somebody else's, but there are quite a few circumstances in which people absolutely do not allow somebody else to push them around when it comes to food, whether it be religious or medical or whatever. People stand their ground all the time. Sometimes people just don't want it. You are entitled to consume whatever you want just as much as anybody else is. And if you consume what is pushed on you and you don't want to, then you're really just reinforcing that what they want it more than what you want. And you are simply reinforcing that their desire to have you consume what they made is greater than your desire to make yourself better. Put yourself in that person's shoes. If you knew what was going on exactly, would you want to continue to push, knowing that the person had goals? Does it help you consider how you would approach the situation? Think of a rather strongly willed person in your life. I'm sure you can think of a few. Try and think of what that person would say if something was pushed on them that they didn't want. Consider that. It may just help you out. Don't limit yourself. It may not even be something that has to do with food. So to summarize here, your needs in these situations are allowed to be more important than the person making the food and pushing it on you. That's okay. And by taking food from that person, you are reinforcing that your needs are not as important as what they want. Your need to stay on plan simply has to be greater than the need for you to eat the food which is being pushed on you by that person. That's it. Your need to stay on needs to be greater than their need to make you do something. And I think if that's communicated appropriately, it will work out well.